Well. What can we say, eh? Tough day today. Tough evening. United obviously fall slightly short, losing 2-3-1. I wish it was 2-1. 3-1 to Chelsea in the semi-final of the FA Cup. We want your views. Hey, if you check out the @AllForUnited Twitter account, please join our StreamYard. Click the link. You can jump into the green room and we'll get through as many reds as we can do over the next 30 minutes. So please get involved. If you don't want to jump on and potentially come on live, don't have to be on camera. You can be on voice if you want. You can join via your mobile, tablet, or laptop. Then feel free to use the Periscope stream. So on Twitter, feel free to put your comments in there, and we'll add them to the stream and discuss with the lads who are going to be jumping on, the boys and girls who are going to be jumping on, who are Reds from around the world, or comment on the YouTube stream as well. Hello, the United way, straight in. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. It's tough on that, isn't it, mate? Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, let's jump straight in, shall we? Matt is on with us. Matt, you need to unmute, buddy, but we've got you. How you doing, brother? You all right?
Good, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, I could be better. I've got to be honest. What's your takeaway from the game today?
I mean, it's kind of shocking, honestly. Considering we're, I think 18, 19 games unbeaten going into this, it's kind of hard not to feel a little confident. But I think personally,
sorry, mate, you're cracking up. You're cracking. Sorry, Matt. I'll come back to you, mate. You're cracking up a little bit there. I will come back to you. You're cracking up ever so slightly. If better, try and use Wi-Fi instead of 3-4G. I will come back to you. Let me jump over to Flawless. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, man. What's going on? Blessed for having me. Appreciate it.
I mean, what happened today, mate? What happened?
You know what? I wasn't confident going into the game anyway, so the result kind of didn't surprise me because I knew Ollie was going to make changes. And when he's made changes in the past, as we've seen, we struggle. When the best 5 players we have in Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood all don't start, we struggle. We've seen it against Spurs. We've seen it against Norwich in the FA Cup. And we know Chelsea have the quality to hurt us. So that's why I'm kind of like, obviously, it's disappointing to lose a semi-final, but we have bigger fish to fry in terms of the Europa League and the top 4 race as well. And I do believe we will do one of those or both of those. So that's why I'm not too downtrodden about it. I can see you look depressed about it, though.
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think it's really, really difficult with all this going on because, hopefully, I'm going to hope that I don't drop out here. I've got to lose my connection and jump back in. Right, let's try to...
Nah, don't leave me hosting the show. He's left me hosting the show, isn't it? He's going to drop off and drop back on. I don't know if you lot can hear me. He's dropped.
We should be back in. We should be. I hope we are. Are we in? Are we back in? Are we on now? Sorry about that, guys. Everything went totally wrong then. I don't know what happened. We're back. Okay, we're back. Joe, let's come over to you, mate. Have you got me?
Yeah, I got you, mate. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening there. The internet just completely went out, so I've had to reconnect with my hotspot. What did you make of that today, mate?
Tough, mate, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the big questions has been about what we feel like Ollie would rather have this season, whether it be top 4 or FA Cup. And I think his team selection gave us the answer today. And I mean, even though I was on match day mornings with you this morning, and even though I predicted a few changes, and I also said I would be quite happy to go to a back 5 because obviously that's worked for us this season. I just think it looked like we'd never played it before, and that was really concerning for me. And I think it's more to do with the personnel. I think the key player in that back 5 when we played it has actually been Luke Shaw as a left side, as centre back. And I think all those players who played today, I don't think there was a left footer amongst the 3 at the back, if you know what I mean. So I think that didn't give balance to that back 5, and that's probably why it didn't work so well.
Didn't help, did it, with Maguire flying into Eric Bailly like he did? I don't get that. What was he doing?
It's becoming a little bit concerning with Harry Maguire now for me, because I think you know the last 2 or 3 games he's not performed as well as he can do, and obviously he carries quite a high price tag. And there is talk that we want to improve the defence. but it's not really been around improving Maguire's position. It's been finding a partner for Maguire, but all of a sudden, you know, he's not looking as stable in the team as he once was. And where we thought we might have one dependable defender, maybe even two with Wan-Bissaka on the at right back, who's also been struggling at the moment, it looks like we could need to strengthen that whole back four, back five, whatever we're going to play, including goalkeeper as well. So,
I mean, it is tough, isn't it? I mean, well, yeah, goalkeeper. Let's get on straight onto that, shall we, Joe? Final few bits from you. I don't think you can blame the first goal on him. It's a point blank shot. There's not much. Yeah, maybe we expect De Gea to save that because he's an incredible goalkeeper. But the second one, what happened?
I think you're spot on with the first one. I think it's very easy sometimes to just think that De Gea should save those because we've been used to him pulling off some incredible saves. And I think people were even suggesting he may have done better with the own goal at the end as well, which I also thought was harsh. But the problem with the second goal was we just had a minute into the second half. You know, Solskjaer had purposely sent the players out early, delivered a message. And the problem is when a goalkeeper makes a mistake like that, especially at that sort of time, it just knocks the whole confidence out of the team. Now, our team's got goals in it, but as soon as we went 2-0 down today and the nature of the way we did it, that was it for me. I could just see the confidence completely drain out the team. And they actually were worried because I think they thought every time Chelsea shoot now, can they depend on De Gea to keep it out?
Yeah. Guys, make sure you give the videos a thumbs up. If you're not over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/all4united, make sure you go give us a subscribe. Hello to Chris, who says, who at fault today, Ollie or players? For me, it's definitely the players from today. What do you think, Joe, Ollie or the players?
Players, I mean, I'm a big fan of Ollie and, you know, I want to support him. I would, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And like I said this morning when we did the preview, I was sort of happy to for us to go 5 at the back. But looking at how we were under no more real pressure playing 4 at the back than we were 5 at the back, it makes you wonder whether he could have probably just stuck with what we've been doing. And factoring into that, like I said before, we haven't played 5 at the back since the restart. So the players have probably sort of lost it from their muscle memory a little bit. So in hindsight, keep the same formation, but the players have got to give more. I know they're tired, but the problem is the drop-off from the first 11 to the rest of the squad is so alarming at the moment and really worrying. And that's the problem Solskjaer's got because he doesn't feel like he can rest multiple players because he can't trust the players coming in behind them.
Yeah, Joe, thank you for coming on, buddy. Appreciate the drop off from the first 11 to the second 11 is alarming, flawless. Let me bring you in, buddy. Sorry, that was my fault. The internet decided to go mad. What do you make of that from Joe? How alarming is it? The difference between the first 11 and so to speak the squad players, I suppose.
Yeah, the thing is, we knew this. I don't think there's any Manchester United fan that is shocked about the drop off. I think we all know we need investment in the summer. Like, it's not. I'm sure it's not a surprise to you, Ben. It definitely wasn't a surprise to me because we've seen this. Like I said, against Spurs, we've seen it on the opening on the first game from the restart, and then we've seen it against Norwich, who are a poor side and a championship side, and we had to bring on all our big guns to beat them. So it's like we already knew the issues that were there, and with Ollie, the problem I have with Ollie is getting the best out of your average to above average players, and he doesn't. Yes, it's easy to manage Bruno, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, like when they're all flying, like that's very easy to do. But then when we switch it up and you have the likes of Dan James come in, you have Fred come in, McTominay, whoever else, we struggle. I didn't even really mind the system change because to me, the FA Cup was the lowest priority. Obviously, it would have been a nice bonus, but Europa League and top 4 are much, much, much more important.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing this priority thing and this whole sort of, you know, do we really care that much about the FA Cups out the window, blah, blah, blah. It's going to help us with our top 4. This is me calling you out. This is me just saying these are the things that I've seen. For me, at the moment, every game is playable and every game is winnable, no matter what competition they're in. Because even if, and I think Rick Lared got this spot on. Let me read out his tweet, actually, because I think he was absolutely spot on with this. And I completely get what he was trying to say. Let me try and find it here. It was along the lines of, God, I've got to try and find this now. Rick Lared, because I think he's put the nail on the hammer on the head or whatever the saying is. he was basically saying that I would get it if there were wholesale changes today, but there weren't. There was still only 2, 3, 4 changes at most, and then the players who we rested came on anyway. Now that doesn't say to me that, hey, we've completely disregarded the FA Cup today. We haven't completely disregarded it. I think the players who were on the pitch should have turned up, and they didn't. And I still think that if we rewind back to kickoff, there still has to be a mentality of top 4 isn't done yet. So we can't even say that resting players today means it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to beat West Ham, we're going to beat Leicester. We also can't say that the Europa League's a foregone conclusion that we're going to steamwalk that. And then there's still 2 games to play in the FA Cup. So do you see where I'm coming from? Like, I don't think you can. Do you see? You can't judge your games either.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but Ollie with his selection has shown that he has prioritized it, because it is United getting into the Champions League, whether it be the Europa League or FA Cup, is a bigger objective. It's more important to do that than to win the FA Cup. Yes, it's a nice bonus. Nobody wants to get beat in a semi-final. Nobody. But with him making them changes, shows you that it has. Put it this way: if that was a league game, we're not seeing that team. If that was a league game, he's playing the first 11. Like, that's what we're seeing. I found the tweet, by the way.
By the way. Gutted. What I can't understand is leaving out Martial, Pogba, and Greenwood as if to say Wednesday's more important. Then bring them on when it's going wrong. It's been said thousands of times. Start with your team. Was he pretending that Wednesday was more important? And that summarizes it nicely for me. I get what you're saying. Top 4 is important. I'm not disregarding that, but so is silverware. That's going to kick you on so much more than 4th place. I just feel like we don't want to get down the Arsenal mentality where we're throwing away the chance of silverware just to pick up 4th place. I think that it's still playable. It's all still to play for. At kickoff, it was all still there to play for today.
Yeah, that's the biggest key, though. We're not going to go down the Arsenal route. So say it's 3, 4, 5 years of United finishing in the top 4, I'd be saying something different. I'd be like, right, let's go and get some silverware. But the fact we're trying to get back into the Champions League, not only for the funds it provides, it also enables you to attract better players. How many times do we see players say, wherever I am next season, I want to play in the Champions League? United need to get back in the Champions League. Yes, of course, you want to win every game, but with the squad we have, we don't have that luxury, unfortunately. And we've seen the drop-off. Like I've said, when them 5 don't play, when our 5 best players do not play, we struggle. Even if you take 2 of them out, because the rest of the team's not good enough. And the manager we have, I don't believe is good enough to tactically get the best out of the lesser players. Because I'm not a fan of Ollie. But today, I can't put the blame on him. I can't put the blame on him in terms of the performance. I didn't think the team was that bad. What I would say is, when we had a back 3, you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong, Chelsea didn't really threaten us at all. Defensively, we were okay. Offensively, we were bad, but defensively, we were okay. So with the 3-5-2, when Bailly gets injured, why not stick to that formation? And then say it's 0-0, 70 minutes to go. 70 minutes gone, and you've got 20 minutes to go. Bring on Pogba, bring on Greenwood, bring on Martial. Like, do a smash and grab. And that's why I don't like Ollie, because I don't rate his in-game management, and we've seen it today. People are criticizing him for the lineup and the formation. I have no problems with them, because we were doing okay. But is what we're dropping De Gea. De Gea shouldn't be playing. I've been calling for De Gea to be dropped from months back. I don't know how many mistakes he's going to make before he is finally held accountable.
I do have to say, was that Karius in goal for us today? And that's my worry here. As a Man United manager now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to drop David De Gea. He can't play him. He has to drop him. And the reason why I say that he has to drop him is he's got to make a statement with his team. Look, I'd also be dropping Williams for Wednesday. I'll be dropping Aaron Wan-Bissaka for Wednesday as well. And I'll be doing that because you need to make a statement and say, hey, you didn't give it your all in an FA Cup semi-final. You were poor. You were at fault for goals. You couldn't play the simple football. Sorry, you've got to be dropped. It's as simple as that. I don't want to go in at individuals too much, because I think it's easy to point fingers at individuals. But just hitting on there, like sort of what you were saying about how we were playing. Why couldn't we get a tune, do you not think, out of our front players today? Because from what I counted, from Chelsea's second goal, we had one shot, and that was Rashford wide.
See, that's what I'm saying. That goes back into the reason why is because we rely on individual brilliance. I'm going to keep sounding like a broken record saying the same thing. Those 5 are easy to manage, because let's keep it 100%. United, to me, haven't played well since Bournemouth. Against Villa, we didn't play well, but we managed to get the result. And you have to praise teams for playing badly and winning. But Villa, we didn't play well. Southampton, we didn't play well. It was the game after that. Crystal Palace, we didn't play well. And today. So this is the ongoing theme. This is 4 games in a row. Obviously, there's factors in it. fatigue, things like that. Yeah, there's factors in it. Fatigue, players not playing. Obviously, players can't play well every game. But yeah, that goes into it. Like I said, if them 5 started, we probably don't get beat 3-1. We might not win the game, but it's not so one-sided, and we have more of an attacking threat because it's not a system thing with Manchester United. There's no attacking pattern of play like Manchester City. I hate to praise them, but no matter what 11 plays for Manchester City, they play the same. Doesn't matter if Jesus is playing up top or it's Aguero playing up top. They do the same job. Doesn't matter if it's Mahrez, Sterling, Foden, whoever else playing out wide. They all do the same job. How many times do we see them score the cutback goal? Because that's practice. We've seen Arteta, who, yes, is great to banner Arsenal, but we've seen Arteta and the effect he's had on Arsenal. They are now playing a different way, whereas Manchester United, the football you are going to get depends on the 11, and if that 11 are unsung. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't agree more with that last statement. 100% spot on. I think looking through some of the comments here, New says starting lineup and selection was not good enough. Chris says was not good enough, and they let us down today. Matthew says, great to see you, Ben. I'm a bit of old school, perhaps. It was really disappointing to approach the latter stages of a great competition with such a selection from the off. Look, Matthew, I'm with you. But also, my little worry about this, again, I don't want to go in too much about the manager, don't want to go in too much about individual players. But my main worry about this is if you list the number of games which we have had to win to potentially achieve something this year, we've bottled it every single time. Semi-final against City weren't good enough. Semi-final today weren't good enough. Chelsea lose, we lose, or we drop points. And I'm a little bit worried about that mentality now. A little bit worried. I hope we can seal up top 4 now and get that done, because I'm shitting it going into the Europa League. I'm not going to lie. If we can't turn it on today in an FA Cup semi-final and empty Wembley, I mean, it's going to be difficult when you're playing the likes of European teams who are going to get in your face and be bullish. So yeah, I'm completely with you there, Matthew. Let's get a couple more. Neil, the link's in the contributors chat. If you want to get on this show, by the way, guys, the StreamYard link is on our Twitter, twitter.com/all4united. And if you're on our YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, head over to youtube.com/all4united and make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe button. Click the notification bell as well, people.
Yeah, but then you can get it straight to your inbox as soon as we go live. I do want to, one more thing. We need to go over to Matt in a second, Flawless, but one more bit from you. Talking on individual players, we like using the comments. So I want to make sure anyone who's commented on the show, we hit on their point. Siren says, don't you think Maguire is not good enough for United? What would you say to that?
I think Maguire is good enough, but his obvious weakness is pace. Playing him next to Lindelof doesn't help him and doesn't help Lindelof because they are very similar. Maguire needs, who's perfect for Maguire? Bailly, but he's very injury prone. Or Axel, but again, very injury prone.
Maguire took him out of the game today. He made sure that Bailly weren't going to partner him.
He did. Well, yeah, that's what it is. Like, it's a system. Like, Maguire needs help. Do I believe Maguire is a world beater? No. But do I believe he's good enough for Manchester United with the correct players around him and the correct system? Yes. There's a reason we bought him for 80 million from Leicester. It's because he looked good there. And then Leicester replaced him with I can't pronounce his name, but the centre back I'm talking about. Is it
Soyuncu or what is it? Yeah,
I'm terrible with pronunciations. He went in there, and even though he got sent off recently, he's looked great since he went in there because the system is still the same. You're supposed to be able to take players out and put players in, and the system still goes on. Like, it still stands, it still continues on. It's a cycle. That's how it's supposed to run, no matter what 11 they're playing. So that's how I look at Maguire. I do believe he is good enough. Yeah.
And you've got to have a certain mentality to play for United, and he's clearly got it. I mean, we joke about the Bailly thing, but him just doing that shows that he will literally go through anything to stop any other opposition player have that ball. He's also got the captain's armband in such short time. Personally, I also think you've got to look back at United historically. When was the last time we bought a world-class central defender? We made Vidic a brilliant centre-back by having Rio Ferdinand next to him. Rio Ferdinand was the best defender in England, but was he deemed world-class at that point? No, he wasn't. He comes into that United team with a perfect partner a few years later, and he becomes a world-class defender. I think world-class defenders are judged on their partnership. For instance, would you say Joe Gomez at Liverpool's a world-class defender? No, you wouldn't. But when him and Van Dijk are on their day, they're a brilliant centre-back partnership, and you're not getting through them. And that's the thing with centre-backs. So, yeah, I think we've got to wait and see. Flawless, thank you for coming on, buddy. Can't wait to see you more on the channel.
Absolutely, I will be. Anytime you need me, I'm here.
Really appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate it. Good to get your views. We're going to get a couple more Reds in now. Matt, let's come back to you, buddy. Sorry about that. The internet's been a nightmare. That's my fault. So we're talking about Harry Maguire there. Obviously, a number of defensive mistakes today have cost us. What are your thoughts on the game?
I mean, I think to me, it comes down to the back line. I think someone on Twitter made a good point saying the 3-5-2, I think it best works if Luke Shaw is the left-sided center back there. Because, I mean, if you look at that back five, all 5 of them were right-footed players. So no matter where you're going to play it, they all look uncomfortable. And it kind of showed today with the pace of Mount and Williams. It was kind of surprising. Brandon Williams looked a little uncomfortable. He didn't look ready, but at the same time, I felt like he didn't really have a choice but to throw him in there. Maguire, I think Maguire is good enough for United, but it's kind of worrying that since the restart, he has almost a mistake every game. I think it's a bit harsh to blame it all on him and De Gea. However, obviously, with them having the biggest errors leading to the goals, it's kind of hard not to. But I mean, at the same time, I think we're starting to see how you can stop United. It's you cut the supply line off to Matic. That means you can't get the ball to Bruno or Pogba, which means you can't get it to the front 3. It's almost becoming a little predictable how United play. I think for me, the biggest issue is just coaching Wan-Bissaka, learning how to get better going forward.
On Wan-Bissaka, quickly, I think that was his worst game by a country mile in a United shirt today. Absolute country mile. He didn't get forward. Every pass he played was back. I'd love to see a passing heat map for him. And twice he got beaten on his left-hand side, and he just didn't stop the ball. And I couldn't believe it, especially their third goal. Like, that wasn't Aaron Wan-Bissaka there. Yeah, he must be knackered, but at least with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, if he is knackered, he somehow manages to lunge a foot in, or he takes a player out, do something. He just did nothing, and I was really surprised at him for that today.
It was very uncharacteristic, You think of Wan-Bissaka, you think of him like once you get the ball, he's on you right away. But today, it looked something was bothering him. It looked like every time Mount or whoever's on that left-hand side for Chelsea got the ball, Wan-Bissaka gave him space, which is not something you see from him every game. You kind of see him wait and then bite. But he looked a little unbothered. Brandon Williams, I don't want to make excuses up, but I just feel like that eye injury was still bothering him. I think the pressure of going up against someone like Williams started to get to him as well.
Sometimes you have a game as a footballer. All footballers have it where you just can't play football. And Brandon Williams had that game today. I'm sorry to say, as a young lad, he's going to get better. I hope. He's also got a lot to learn. Same as I said last week about Greenwood not doing his defensive job. I wasn't saying he was shit. I was just saying that he didn't play well defensively, and he needs to learn that side of his game. It's a difference. It's constructive feedback from what you see. I just think Brandon Williams had one of those games today that he just couldn't play football, and every footballer now and then has them. Rashford today, his first touch completely disappeared today. Although what I would say is with Oddie's team selection, I don't mind him playing Dan James as this unorthodox striker, although I think he's a winger out and out, and you're sort of making him a scapegoat by playing him there. But if you're going to play someone next to him, you need to play someone who can hold up the ball. And Rashford has never been any good at holding up the ball. So I'm a little bit shocked that he didn't play Martial there to help him out, so they could have got a little bit of a combination going. But yeah, it's interesting. Hello to Kai, who says Wan-Bissaka's problem is they're now double teaming him, playing 1-2s around him. Again, Kai, I do agree. Teams are going to tactically try and outsmart other teams. That's how you try and win a football game, right? But for me, it's like, if you're Wan-Bissaka, you need to adapt quicker. You need to adapt quicker, and you need to be ruthless. You need to call for a bit more help. You need to bring a midfield over and be a little bit tighter so that they can help you out. You need to make sure Bailey or Lindelof are closer to you. And it's that authority, Matt, I'm just not seeing at the moment from this United side.
I think so, but actually going back to what Kai said, I don't know where I saw it, but I saw a report about Wan-Bissaka. I'm not saying he's bad at all. He's still, I think, the best one-on-one defender in the league.
Fantastic, yeah, it's fantastic. It's the best right back United have had in years.
But he does make a point though. Like, how many interceptions have you seen Wan-Bissaka genuinely make? I personally don't think his reading of the overall play is that great. And I mean, granted, he's 21, 22 years old, so that's something with experience. But I think that's something huge that these teams are starting to exploit as well, is if you attack Wan-Bissaka with more than one guy, then you can get by him.
It makes him tough. It makes it tough, doesn't it? Let's come back over to one more question for you. Hallie to Philly, he says squad depth isn't Ollie's fault. What do you think about these players then, who would potentially call squad players? I mean, Bailey, James, Williams, Fred. What did you make of them today? Then we had Igalo come on. Obviously, he's still only on loan. Fosu Mensah at the end, I actually think he didn't make a bad cameo at all on that right-hand side. What do you make of our squad depth, and how worried are you?
I mean, I think squad depth's been a problem for who knows how long now. Even towards the end of Sir Alex's year, or reign, it was kind of a problem. I mean, if you take a look at that 2013 squad, if you look at that bench, how many of those players genuinely would make a first 11 back then? And especially now, take away Pogba and Greenwood, assuming because they're mainstay starters. Honestly, you look at that bench. I mean, it's shown the last couple of games. Yeah. Once he makes those changes, it's a completely different game.
I think it's definitely showing that 3-4 signings are needed. Matt, thank you for coming on, buddy. I wish we were talking in more positive circumstances, but appreciate everything you've said. Right, let's go over to the main event. Neil, how are you doing, buddy?
You mean the oldest event?
Mate, come on, stop talking about your age. You always make it about your age. Come on, you're fine.
I'll give 20 years on everybody else's on this site. So when you young whippersnappers having a moan about a shocking performance tonight, look, I can take you back decades and you'll all fall asleep within 20 minutes.
Well, and this is why I'm not willing to jump in on the individual blame game, But you win and lose football matches all the time. But obviously when it's raw like this,
Alex always said, and all great managers said this. Brian Clough, Waltz, Jock Stein. How far back you want to go? You win a defense. You win a game on your defence. Because if we don't concede, we've only got to score one to win.
Yeah.
As soon as we went one goal behind, and I was writing a load of notes this because I wanted to do a match report. And I tore them up at half time because I was absolutely furious when it was 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I know De Gea is going to get the stick because of the way he played, but neither of the centre halves were strong enough. I could have bullied them off the ball today, and I'm 52, so I could have proper bullied them off the ball today. I mean, I played it. We've all played football, but so De Gea is going to get all the stuff, get all the grief. The issue was, and yet. The issue was we made the pitch too big. So we were playing 20, 30-yard passes to get the ball into the front two, who weren't a front two. And then no one was getting around them. So there was no one backing in. So I didn't understand why they didn't play Igalo. And at least have a centre-half who's got a bit of muscle about him, who can occupy a centre-half and can have a ball played into him and can get runners going by the side. James could catch pigeons. Right, Rashford can catch pigeons. Mm-hmm. So play a system where you play Igalo up top and try and get some runs. Bruno Fernandes, if any player needs a rest, it's him. Mm-hmm. So I understand why he does this. But Matic looked, and I 6 months ago for this Spinner show, I said, I'll drive Matic to whichever club he wants to go in Europe. And I suddenly applauded he got an extra contract, an extension. But if we can't get the ball into a person's hands, we had no creativity in that midfield whatsoever because Fernandes was too far up the pitch because he was playing as a 10. So we basically played with a false 9 and just split the two forwards out to try and push the wingers back. So Fernandes was sort of squashed for space. I don't understand why I didn't play Igalo. I thought Igalo was genuinely injured. And then when I saw him sat in the stands, I'm thinking, this doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. I'm a massive fan of De Gea. Massive fan. And I'm not going to rush on judgment on De Gea. I might write something for you tomorrow or the day after, which will probably take me about 3 or 4 days to get it right. But that's another story.
Well, Neil, quickly on De Gea, right? So, look, he didn't play bad. He made a big mistake, right?
Those two goals, both of those central defenders should have been in place to influence the movement of the ball better than they did.
Well, the first goal wasn't his fault. The first goal definitely wasn't his fault. You cannot pick him out for that, and you cannot pick him out for the third goal either. But the second goal, I'm sorry. Like, we can talk about closing down. We can talk about how easy that they passed the ball through us. He can't be flapping at that because I agree. we go in about
I'll give you
Karius
that.
at Liverpool last year. He flapped to that. Now, for with De Gea, he has made a few mistakes this year, but we can't look. He's given us so many years. We would have gone down, I think, if it weren't for De Gea. Like at one point, I just think he's a sensational goalkeeper. He really is. But he did make a big mistake today. He has made a few massive mistakes as well this season. Again, I don't think every single one's his fault. I think many a times his defence haven't helped him out in the lead up.
I think his manager made just as big a one though, Ben. And as you know, I mean, we've communicated. I've flip-flopped on De Gea probably as much as, well, not as much as I've flip-flopped on Jack Grealish, but life's too short for that sometimes. But I would actually say now, if this could be a test of Ollie's management, because if is such a big word for two letters, it's the biggest word in the world for two letters. If we win Wednesday, and then I've looked at it and I think, well, if we get a draw on Saturday, I think we're through. Sunday against Leicester. So if we win Wednesday, and I think a draw might be enough for us. If we win both those two games tonight, everybody's going to forget about it. But we shouldn't forget about it. No. Because what tonight has shown, we might be 2 or 3 players short in the first team, but we're at least 3 or 4 short in the second team. And the one thing that struck people tonight, and this was as you and I have spoke about this, the abuse that Shaw gets. But it's only when you don't see him in the team, you see how bloody good he is for the team. Because when was the last time he was involved in a 3-0?
Well, football's such a fickle sport, isn't it? It really is.
And Ben, I'm 52. I'm as fickle as they come. I've been there, done it, got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
But I just think, I mean, I've stayed up to try and get involved in this because I was absolutely livid. I initially said to you, I didn't, and then you give me a good intro, I'll give you that. Very good intro, and I'm happy with the launch of the site. And this is why I wanted to get involved. But I just think we need to test the brakes a bit, because if we don't get a positive out of Wednesday, I think the pack of cards falls down on Ole, and I'm not sure he's deserving of that.
Well, let me quickly just read out some of these comments, Neil, which sort of reflect what you're saying. Stretford _10 says it's not Ollie's fault, but it is his job now to recognise that we need to strengthen. C. Paul says we need Dean Henderson in now, and you can react to this one, Neil. Chris says, do you think Dean Henderson might come back from on loan and get a chance next season, or do you keep him at Sheffield United for one more season?
I'd bring him back now and give him and let him play it out. And also, I know I sent this as a tweet out that sounded absolutely crazy this afternoon, and tonight's result sort of backs up my point. For some reason that only probably 2 or 3 people on the planet know, Watford said, we fed up a Nigel Pearson, we don't want him anymore. We need someone sometimes to strike the fear of God into our players when they get into the half-time dressing room, when they've got a when they're facing a spanking. I'm not sure Ollie can deliver that. 3 or 4 years ago,
get Keno on the coaching team.
Keno, he'd lose all his wages in fines every week. But you want someone with a bit of grit who's been there and done it. And why can't Nigel Pearson be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Archie Knox? Yep. Just putting it out there. I'm not saying I'm right, and most people know me. I'm hardly ever right, but I'm just saying maybe those are the sort of weird things that we need to do. I'm fed up of being, on one other point, I'm fed up of being linked with low-level players. We need to be. We dine at the top table, so let's eat at the top table for God's sake. If we're going to do this. But I'm furious about today's result.
It's tough, isn't it? It's a really, real tough one. But
what you're trying to do, Ben, personally, is excellent. I applaud you.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate you coming on.
Wholeheartedly for it.
Well, we've had some great fans on today.
I'll probably be in touch with you tomorrow, by the way.
I'm looking forward to it. No, Neil, you've been brilliant on here today. Just one last thing for you, quickly. When did it happen that people started saying that the FA Cup didn't matter? Because, as you say, I could pick on your brains here as an old. Well, I'm 26 now, and for me, the FA Cup is magical.
Who told you that?
Who told me that?
Yeah.
FA Cup's a brilliant competition.
You're 26. No,
I grew up.
The FA Cup, even when United beat Millwall at the Cardiff Stadium and Ronaldo's header, and we battered Millwall, it didn't feel special that year. The last time it felt special, it genuinely felt special for me, was when you couldn't sleep on the Friday and you got all excited. I mean, I've been to loads of FA Cup finals, but the one that really felt special for me was when Whiteside scored against Everton in extra time.
Yeah, we're going way back now.
Yeah, that was in the dark days of Atkinson. But that was proper special. You remembered that. Yeah. I mean, most of my good memories about the FA Cup are actually under a long time ago in the first Fergie years, not recently. And we should have won a couple of FA Cups in the last 10 years. Yeah. As long as we get Champions League, today will be forgotten about easy.
It'd be nice to get the Champions League with a bit of silverware as well, though, wouldn't it? I'd like to see us lift. Well, I mean, it's not as special, but I'd love to see us lift the Europa League.
Because of the shortened way the season's going to start next year, personally, I'd say, right, get the Champions League and then just bin off the Europa League. Just bin it off and get the players fit and ready to go next year. Because you'll get this Concertina effect now. Liverpool are resting their players immediately. You need to be able to start whenever, because you're going to have to start the season like a house on fire, like Mourinho used to do in the old days.
You know what we're going to have to do, Neil? We're going to have to get you and Matthew on a show, because Matthew has just got really excited about what you were saying. He's just gone 85, loved it. I'm 46, so those were the days FA Cup wise, which is great. Going back to all those old memories, I love it.
So are you organising the Christmas drink yet, by the way? Because I know it's not that far off. Just thought I'd let you know.
If we can all get in the same pub together, yes. The way the world is at the moment. Do you know what? We're going to leave it there. Neil, thank you for coming on, buddy. Really, really appreciate it. Obviously, tough day to do it for the first time round, but do you know what I mean? It's one of those. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Flawless. Thank you to Joe as well. Lost 3-1 today in the FA Cup semi-final. I'm still a bit gutted. I love the FA Cup. But like Neil said there, if we get Champions League, people start to forget about it, but we can't forget about it. We need to go onwards and upwards, and we need to make those improvements, especially to the squad. Hey, stick a like on the video, stick a subscribe on the channel as well, at All For United on Twitter and allforunited.com for all the match reaction. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we shall see you next time. Night time? That's where I want to go. I want to go to night time. Ladies, everyone, take it easy.